Hi, this is Allison Lee Rosenfeld, and you may know me as the voice of Bonnie from Pokemon, and you are watching Anime Egotists. Will you please take care of my big brother? Happy watching!
And welcome back to the Anime Egotists, where Joey Wheeler would actually come to our birthday parties.
Yeah, he came a few times already.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. I like Joey. But anyways, my name's Alex, and somehow they haven't kicked me out of the Pokemon world. Like, they have a system for it and everything, but they just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, but they don't like deporting people for some reason. And I'm Richard.
That is correct. And guys, Richard, it's been a minute since we've done a Pokemon video, hasn't it? It's been a little bit.
Yeah, we needed a little bit of a break, kind of reset on the Pokemon franchise.
Correct. And some of you might be thinking, but wait, in that poll you put up, we said we liked Yu-Gi-Oh videos the most. I'm sorry, our Yu-Gi-Oh knowledge is very different from each other. We both know Pokemon a bit more than we know Yu-Gi-Oh, so we're sticking with Pokemon. Maybe we'll go back to Yu-Gi-Oh another day. But when it comes to Pokemon, there's a lot of different things you could be. You could try to be a champion, a breeder, a connoisseur, but what doesn't get talked about a lot is trying to become a gym leader.
Yeah, and I think that's mostly because you have to focus on one specific type. Yeah, you specialize in that. And usually you're not the biggest challenge in the world, but you still have to be challenging in some form.
That is correct. And it's weird because I feel like we haven't gotten that clear of an idea of how to become a gym leader, but that's okay. So we decided, what would our gyms be like in the Pokemon universe? Be it style, type of Pokemon, location, just anything we could come up with that doesn't sound completely terrible.
Exactly, and I'm really interested to see what you think of what you have on your sleeve for this.
I'm not gonna lie, my gym is a little on the odd side, so I'm curious about yours. So, do you want to start us off?
All right. Well, we can. I don't know if you ever told me what type you're doing. I know we chose types in advance so that we wouldn't have the same one. So I picked the Steel type, which is weird because a lot of my favorite Pokemon are water, but a lot of them are from starter evolutions, and I don't feel that that's really fair. You don't get the starter evolutions as a gym leader.
Well, some of them do, but if you had had one, I would have been okay with it. But if your whole team had been full of them, I'd be like, okay, that's weird.
Yeah, so that's why I avoided the water type, because as I said, I've got too many favorites among the starter waters types mostly. All right, and then what type did you pick?
Well, I also thought about water, but then I thought to myself, there are a lot of Pokemon types I like. There are none I hate, but there are a lot I like. So I decided to go with one I don't really think about that often. And my gym is a bug type gym.
Interesting. I didn't. I don't think you told me that. So
No. I kind of sound that for a bit because I didn't know. I'm like, we either one of us could change our minds, and I seriously doubt either of us would end up picking the same type. But we've disappointed you guys before. But I don't know. I've grown to really appreciate bug Pokemon over the past several years. Maybe it's because we're friends with Pokéfurlax now, and he loves bug Pokemon. Maybe he's brainwashing me.
it's possible. Their bug type has grown on me a lot since it used to be considered so much weaker than everything else, and now that they've got a couple really good standouts over the years, it's not nearly what it used to be.
All right. So do you just want to do like location or the build of your gym before we get into our teams? Because I feel like teams is just kind of the thing where it's like, well, duh, you pick those.
Yeah. So as a steel type gym leader, I kind of am trying to decide. It's hard for me to place where I want my gym because there are some really good steel gyms, and then there are some really bad. I almost feel like I have to go to my favorite region of Johto and replace the boring. Like, I mean, it has the absolute worst sixth gym, I think, of all of them, and I will 100% admit that because Jasmine, you walk straight in and you face her.
Oh, Jasmine, the ninja girl.
No, Jasmine's the lighthouse girl.
Wait, who the hell is Jasmine?
I think I'm. It's been a while. It's actually been a while since I've
Oh, Jasmine.
Yeah.
Oh no, she's the really nice, quiet girl.
Yes, I like her, but her gym, and I know her gym challenge is supposed to be going to save Ampharos by getting the medicine and all that, but it just is like her actual gym has no theming. You literally just walk in and face her. That's it. It is, in my opinion, one of the most boring late game gyms that there are in this series.
Okay, so you're talking games because the anime, people just show up and say, "I want a gym battle." I'm like, all right.
Yeah, that kind of yeah, I kind of did that based on the games because you kind of have to go with both, I would say.
Yeah, I guess I could do that. I guess I can understand that.
All right. Um, but yeah, so I'd say probably Johto, just replacing the steel gym that's already there for something with a bit more challenge.
Well, the thing is, they always seem to every now and then they seem to bring up the idea that well, there are more than eight gyms. That's how Gary has 10 badges or whatever it is. So I kind of just figured, let me just sit myself in the Hoenn region, and I'll take one of the first towns they do, Oldale Town, because nothing really happens there.
I could see it, and Bug's a good first gym kind of area because of well, especially because it's considered as weak as it is normally, but that's something that you could prove wrong when you get to being like the eighth gym.
Yeah. And at that point, and I do just sort of think to myself, if somebody's starting off with this gym, then I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna be like, hey, welcome to my gym. And you can either do 3-on-3, so only the challenger can substitute Pokemon and all that other stuff. Or you could do one double battle. Which do you feel like doing? I will happily accommodate.
Interesting. Yeah, have we had a triple battle gym before?
I don't believe so, but to be fair, when it comes to triple battles, I'm not that experienced, so I'm like, I don't really know about that.
Yeah, that would be interesting. So, because I designed mine more for like in-game ones, I actually took a combination of a few things. But pretty much, so I guess let's describe what our gym's layout would be. So I built mine as it's actually in a university. This is where all the Pokemon professors have pretty much gone and studied and been actual professors at, and that's where they got their titles and doctorates and whatever they have. And pretty much, my gym is a long hallway where, when you're facing the what are they called? The gym trainers. You actually, no matter what, you always face 7, and this affects against me you get boosts based on answering a question with them and then battling them. If you manage to do both, you get for each one it affects one of the stats. So you get a question boosts your attack, next one boosts defense, and so on and so forth. So I kind of designed it off of, as I said, more of the video game, I felt. So that was kind of where I started.
That's a cool idea. I don't know if I could study there because I can't go back to college because that was a nightmare the first time. But I can understand. That's actually an interesting idea with the professors.
Yeah, and I kind of came up with like a generation chart where Oak and Rowan were pretty much kind of rivals at the school, trying to be the best Pokemon professor, and then all of that kind of every other professor studied under them there. So that's where Elm, Sycamore, Juniper, Kakui, all because they're all kind of that younger generation. It feels like.
Yeah, well, except Magnolia, but that's an exception.
Yeah, she was Professor Oak's professor,
That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
and she treated it like Catholic school. That cane, she's carried it around for nearly 50 years and beat Professor Oak with it.
That is horrifying, and that's not a question I was ever going to ask about. But it's your gym, so I guess it's your sorts of trauma, I guess.
Exactly.
But anyways, my gym is a little bit different. It starts off as behind it is a giant forest area where Pokemon, and even if they're not specifically bug Pokemon, just a majority of Pokemon interact. And that's where the gym challenge itself takes place. You have to find your way out of the maze, but at the same time, it's not just simply it's not just simply gym trainers. Like there's a couple of them, but there are also some wild Pokemon which are not necessarily allowed to catch. You're not allowed to catch them, but at the same time, if you go through and battle them, you get a little bit of a boost. Like if you let's say you beat 2 Pokemon before your first gym trainer, or you get a little bit of a boost. If you beat 4, then you get a bigger boost. Now, obviously, this doesn't. You can't do like, oh, I've beaten 20 Pokemon, so that makes it easier. It's not that sort of thing. But if you lose in the game, if you lose a Pokemon, then your stats go down a bit. So you and once you leave the gym for the Pokemon Center or whatever, it resets. So you kind of have to think, do I want to take this chance and buff out my Pokemon stats, or do I just want to leave things as they are now, just battle the gym trainers?
That's actually I like that idea, but I also find it funny that we both went for kind of stat increases based on some sort of mini challenge in the gym for the facing us.
Well, I wanted to do a rapping gym leader, but sadly that was already taken by Scarlet and Violet.
I don't know how to feel about that, because I mean, it's, would you all have done a rap battle about bug Pokemon?
I guess something like that. Ash and Go would be perfect for it. But you said yours is a university, and I kind of just came up with one off the top of my head, but mine's a cafe.
Interesting, yeah.
Hey, people walk in, you can place an order. You can place an order while you watch the battles, or you could have it afterwards. But a lot of the dishes are bug Pokemon themed. And people are like, that sounds horrible, but it's like, no, it's actually really good. You gotta try this.
I like that idea. It kind of just, it's one of those things that's like, it's a little freaky until you realize how colorful most of the bug Pokemon are. The only one that I think wouldn't make a great plate would be like Nincada or something, because it's kind of that brownish color. All the others at least have vibrant colors.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, would you like? Oh, well, we also have some, and just like Detective Pikachu, there are actually bug Pokemon trying to serve you, and people, inspectors don't necessarily think too great about it, but the food's good enough, we get a passing grade, so it's fine.
All right, I could definitely see it. It's interesting. I did have the idea though that, based on the level of the trainer that's challenging my gym trainers change. So if it's your first time challenging my gym, and we're the first gym you're challenging, you get to face the undergraduates. Then and that's usually like the first 2 gyms. Second 2, you face the graduate students, then doctoral candidates, and then if you're the 7th or the 8th gym, or if you're facing me after completing gyms, you face the professors. Not Professor Oak or anything. Yeah, I wasn't gonna say not Professor Oak or anything. That's a little extreme. I think this is like the current who's teaching there, that sort of professor.
Yeah, so very akin to Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, kind of, but just all in one place, because there's you facing, and so they just kind of get stronger. They're the gym trainers. They're stronger than the local trainers, but not a gym leader level.
Yeah, I can understand. I can understand that. I also like to think I would have one gym trainer who's constantly making bug puns, and I'm just like, no, please don't scare them away. Hey, this place is hard enough to get in through with the mazes and the forest and everything. Please just be normal, please. And they just never listen. But they're such a great battler, I just let them stay regardless.
I like that idea. I don't really have one for a pun. Most of mine would just be like, there'll always be one in each kind of level that's freaking out about something. Like an undergraduate's trying to finish his final project, the graduate student's trying to do a research paper, the doctoral candidate's trying to finish his thesis, and then like the one of the professors is trying to make tenure.
This is a very depressing gym.
It's just one. The rest are like are just kind of normal, but they like rush out, and you got like the books, someone carrying books. So I've kind of thought little bits out of this.
Do you mind if I give a name to one of your gym trainers or professors or whatever?
Go right ahead.
Dan.
Okay.
Because based on his name and based on the type of gym you have, you could call him Steely Dan.
Okay, Steely Dan. Okay.
Not every. I feel like more people are going to get that joke than people who won't. But who knows at this point? Steely Dan, like.
All right. Unfortunately I didn't get it, so
Oh goodness gracious! Time for a new co-host. But regardless, do you know like? Because I know they make you go for gyms in a set order in a good majority of the games. So if you had to marry yourself to that, would you have a set idea for what gym would you be? The fourth, the eighth? What would you go with?
I would I'd probably set myself up as like the seventh. I mean, as I said to you when we were talking about this a little bit, I did set it up as if I could do it from each one, but um, I don't want to be the final challenge, but I want to be up there. So I'm about the seventh, I would say.
And yeah, but this is strictly if we're stuck doing this. So if they say you have to be the third gym, which is a really odd thing to ask, but I would go with third. But ultimately, I'd like it to be like Scarlet and Violet. Do it in whatever order you want. The games will kind of adjust.
Yeah, and if you happen to beat the strongest gym first, then well, everything else is kind of a cakewalk after that.
Little bit.
But yeah, I would say seven. I've got what I feel like is a very strong team, so it would need to probably wait till about then to just balance out a little bit because the steel type is a little too strong in my opinion to do a very early gym.
Well, if you have fire Pokemon, then even then it's kind of like you might have to wait a little bit.
Yeah, the steel type is, as I said, it's kind of that weird balance because of how defensive they actually are and how powerful their attacks can be.
Yeah, and bug Pokemon used to be really easy, but then they decided no, let's make these things a little more a little trickier. And thanks to Scarlet and Violet, I've actually like, wow, I really like bug Pokemon. And then some of them didn't evolve as much as I wanted them to, and I'm like, oh, that's upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, I thinking back on it, I used in Sun and Ultra Sun, I used Vikavolt 1 and Aquanid, I think is the
giant water spider.
Yeah, on one of my playthroughs in each. So I think bug Pokemon have really improved a lot, especially over the last probably 4 or 5 generations.
And I'm perfectly okay with that. Because if they didn't and I was still stuck with bug, I could still do it, but I'd be like, oh, this is going to be difficult. But we're also basing these gyms off the anime, so in a way, they kind of just write it to be whatever the heck they want.
Yeah. So, just one more thing about just my gym. The reason I picked this university style thing is because every school that we ever see in Pokemon always seems to be either you're going for a Pokemon medicine or it's a little kid school, and that's it. Like, I think the oldest kids we ever see in school are like 10 years old. So this is.
I mean, there was one episode early on where it's like that girl Giselle, and there's this guy who's like, oh, that guy, he's been here for years, and he looks like he's like 30 or 40, but I don't think he's meant to be there for that long.
Yeah, that, as I said, I wanted something that shows that there is more education, despite the fact that this university specializes in Pokemon research. It's still there's still higher education that is achievable, apparently.
I thought you were gonna say there's still education that doesn't have to do with Pokemon. I'm like, I don't think that even exists in the Pokemon world. I think everything just has to do with Pokemon.
Yeah, I think it's all the kids that are grounded just end up going to school. That's why most of the people are on journeys and journeys.
Oh, that is horrible. That is horrible. But I also like to think that for my gym, if anybody has a complaint, they have to talk to me, and I come out and I'm just like, hey, what's going on? It's just like, yeah, is everything bug themed here? Yeah. Well, it just seems kind of a specific thing for one type of it just seems like a specific type for one certain thing of food. I'm just like, well, that's how it works at this gym. It's like, gym? Oh, yeah. We should probably advertise that a bit more, or we should probably get flyers out or something. But did you see anybody stuck in the forest trying to get in the mazes trying to get here? And they're like, should I have helped them? They'll find their way out. They'll find their way out. We got people searching for them, but to avoid the cops, let's have a gym battle.
I see it, especially like I see your gym being like it's all decorated. It looks like a really nice bug themed cafe, and then there's this little like piece of paper, like a health inspector note that people would just kind of look over that says, "This is a gym for this region. If you're interested in challenging," and like it's all just written on a piece of paper.
It's like, it's just like, what, man, this cafe, we are getting great business, but nobody seems to be challenging us. There's this guy who keeps coming here and saying, oh, I want to be a Pokemon master. I want to beat all the gyms, but nobody's coming to me. Maybe we're doing something wrong.
Oh, God. I could see that. I think that would be funny.
Yeah, but like every gym in the anime, though, you have to have an appointment. 90% of the time, you have to have an appointment. I'm not scared. I'm not waking up at 4 a.m. for you to be like, I want a challenge, and I'm like, no, get out of here! Get out of here before my bugs get after you.
I see the same thing for me, but most of mine is like, I'm not canceling class to for you to challenge me, so you have to.
We're not leaving this classroom. The fire alarm goes off. Oh no, we have to leave. We have to go to the gym field. Oh man, let's go.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think like. Yeah, so gym appointments, it's like, okay, you have to schedule it around my classes and my the exams I'm giving and all that for everything else that I have to do.
Yeah. And if you somehow manage to beat me, you also get a free meal.
I like that. It's kind of like when you beat Larry in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. He's like, you beat me. All right, let's have something to eat. It's you and him eating that Midbar or whatever it was.
Yeah. And if you lose, let me put to you, I kind of you talked about how, oh, well, depending on how many badges somebody gets, that's how your team adjusts. That's what you talked about.
Yeah, so as I said, if you happen to challenge me with only one, I have Pokemon set aside that are different or lower level.
Well, I kind of did the same thing, but I also based it on people's personalities. If you're a trainer who's kind to their Pokemon, does their best, adapts really well, and you still lose, I will give you pointers. I'll be like, hey, this Pokemon I have is known for being really fast. Why not work on that next time? Hey, you're Machop, you are really good together. You also might want to work on your defense. I give pointers. But if you're horrible, if you're cocky, if you're arrogant, that's when I'm like, all right, you guys stay behind. I'm using the big guns for these because I like to think I'm a gym leader who tries to help people.
Yeah, I like to think that the professor of the region is relatively new. So whether it's still, as I said, since I'm Johto, whether it's Elm still or someone new, I have 2 different dialogues pretty much for if I beat you or you beat me, and I'm either it's either really nice or actually kind of mean. It's like, did so and so? If I beat you, it's like, did so and so really think you had potential?
Dang.
And then
I'm
if you
trying
win,
to be
it's like,
helpful. You're trying to be hurtful.
I know. And my other one is like, they made a good choice. Just kind of for if you pick just sort of I'm just trying to think. Yeah, if they I don't know. I'm trying to think of what I'm saying on that.
Yeah. So basically, I guess in a sense, we should talk about our teams.
Yeah. Did you come up with like moves or anything for it, or?
I came up with one move for one Pokemon. I didn't feel like doing, oh, this has these 4 moves, this 4 moves. That seemed a little excessive because we didn't even do that in the last Pokemon team video we did.
Okay, yeah. So are we just doing our like post-game rematch? So the full team of 6 that's at its strongest?
I have 3, like I said, because it's either single battles for me, like 3-on-3, or double battles. So I have 3 Pokemon that are like, I feel like these are easy enough, easy yet challenging enough that a lower trainer could do this. And I have three others that are like, you better pray.
Okay. So do you want to go first on this?
Sure. And it's a Pokemon that's relatively early to catch. Relatively early to catch, and I picked Lokix.
Okay.
Probably what. Actually, I'm gonna be honest. This is probably one of my favorite Pokemon from Scarlet and Violet. I just love its kind of. Because a lot of bug Pokemon seem to have more of a special type of attacks. I love how Lokix is just a bug that can kick the snot out of you.
Yeah, it's one of those I've played through once and I've started a second playthrough but never really finished, and it's always one of those I might use you, I just don't know.
Yeah. And to think you catch it so early, because like we've talked about before, the bug Pokemon you catch early on were never particularly the strongest, but the fact that this was one of the strongest ones on my team kind of says a lot. And I would have it be not necessarily fast, but I would kind of have it be like if it gets attacked, it kind of slowly moves out the way. Hey, kind of like a Drunken Fist style. And I don't necessarily mean Rock Lee, I just mean like Drunken Fist. That's like an actual thing.
I can understand that. Yeah, that one's definitely an interesting one. That's kind of it's definitely the better of the early route bugs, because we also had Spidops, and I know that one had some issues.
It did, but that oddly enough, I trained my Spidops up really well in the games, and then it also got to the point where, wow, both of my bug Pokemon are really, really strong. But I did not go Spidops. Also, apparently, Lokix has Showdown mode, which I don't. They said it's basically Showdown mode is when it gets serious and more powerful, but once it turns off, then it gets really tired and it's ineffective. I don't know if there's any way of triggering that in the games, but I just figure, it's interesting. Let me just keep it.
Yeah, I think that would be an interesting one to bring in, for sure.
Yeah. Next up is Ninjask.
Okay.
It is ridiculously fast. You have to remember with a lot of Ninjask, every time it attacks, it gets faster. So in a sense, it kind of works perfectly in some cases.
Yeah, and that was always one of my favorites, and I think I used it on one of my first actual team playthroughs where I didn't just use this the starter when I was playing Ruby and Sapphire and stuff when I was a kid. So I think I really remember enjoying using it.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, it's speed. Its speed is really good. And the other Pokemon I said would be like still relatively easy, like kid gloves, is Ariados.
Okay.
Hey, and apparently it learns a move in I think the most recent generation, maybe the one before, called Toxic Thread.
I'd have to go back and look.
It poisons the opponent and it lowers their speed.
Makes it better than String Shot, which just lower speed.
Yeah, and Ariados would be before Ninjask, because I'd be like, okay, I'm going to slow you down as much as possible, just so I can send out my Speedster.
All right. And then you said you have another 3, but it's kind of, you would only use 2 of them for a double battle?
Yeah, well, the other 3 are basically, okay, you've made it far, so I have to take you seriously, or you're being a piece of crap right now and you need to be humbled, so let me send these out. And the first I picked was Yanmega.
Okay.
I looked up some Pokedex entries and some Bulbapedia stuff. I did not realize Yanmega was as terrifying as it was. First of all, it's huge, and it's incredibly violent.
Yeah, the only problem I have with this is I feel I'm one of those that feels that it should have gotten the dragon type. A bug dragon type would have been awesome with.
Oh, I agree. Which upon like I didn't think about this beforehand, but if I had to use Terratilize or whatever the heck it's called, I'd rather use Mega Evolution. But these don't Mega Evolve. But if I had to use Terratilize or whatever it's called, a dragon type Mega would be kind of awesome.
That's interesting. I wonder if it's going to have if it's being added in one of the DLCs.
I don't know. Oh, full disclosure, if they just said, you know what, let's just skip a generation of new things, let's just bring back Mega Evolution and add more forms to different Pokemon, I personally would rather prefer that.
Yeah, I still think everybody thinks Mega Evolution's the best gimmick they've come up with so far.
I'll say this, Gigantamaxing and Dynamaxing, it was better than I expected, because I had no hope for that whatsoever. And I was like, oh, I actually kind of like this.
It really was. At first I was like, wow, this is kind of stupid, and then I really actually grew to like it, because it was a bit of a challenge.
Oh, alright, fine, go Alcremie. Oh my god, it's a giant cake, I love you. But another Pokemon I thought, Galissapod, is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's the one, oh god, what's his name uses,
Guzma.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently it has a move that once it attacks, once it has first impression. If it attacks right away, then it delivers a really powerful attack. But you can only use it on like its first move or something like that. It's really weird like that. And then when somebody knocks it out, I'm like, huh, maybe having that move on it wasn't the best idea, because now I only have 3 moves to use. And it just looks at me like, you're an idiot. But apparently, from what I looked up, it also spends a lot of time meditating, so I feel like as violent and scary as it looks, it's actually very calm in battle and likes strong opponents, as opposed to Yanmega, which just hates everybody.
Even you?
Yeah, but it also says, if you're a strong trainer, Yanmega will respect you, so it's kind of, I don't want to say kind of like Misty's Gyarados, but it is kind of a sense of if it's anybody else, Yanmega has no interest. It at least tolerates me.
Do you want a shiny Yanmega? Because I ended up, I think in Pokemon Legends Arceus, I ended up with like 3 in one battle.
Sure, let's do it after this. Okay, and the last one, I fully admit this is it's not a legendary, but it kind of feels like cheating.
Okay.
And I will gladly switch it out if you're like, no, that's not cool. Slitherwing.
That's the flying, or the okay, I know which one. It's the Volcarona Scarlet exclusive, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really struggle coming up with these, because I'm like, I want some variety, but at the same time, I don't know. I like it. I think it's kind of weird looking, but at the same time, but I also was like, I don't know. It's not, like I said, it's not a legendary, but it kind of feels like one.
Yeah, I know it's on the stronger side, because I think it's in that kind of classification that falls in the it's in that same kind of level of pseudo legendaries, but not, it's, since it doesn't evolve from anything, it doesn't get that title. But I'm okay with it, especially because, as you said, the bug type is not the strongest. So
yeah, and apparently its speed is really bad, but its defense is really good. So that's probably one of the ones I use closer to one of the last Pokemon. Not to mention, for anybody about to complain, it's bug and fighting, so it's really weak against flying Pokemon, which I'd like to think every team has a flying Pokemon except me and Scarlet and Violet. I kind of just realized I never had a flying Pokemon on my team then.
Oh, that's weird, because I specifically hunted and got the electric bird, and I actually really enjoyed using it. The Kilowatt Troll, that's it.
Yeah, but ultimately, I'd like to think, like I said, once the battle's over, if I win and the person tried their hardest and was kind to their Pokemon, I try to give them advice on how to beat me, because I'm just like, hey, your Pokemon's speed is really good, but also work on evasion. Not to mention, and be on the lookout for Ariados's poison. It can really mess you up. And that's when they decide they're coming back. And I'm like, all right, but you fought hard. I'll make you some dinner. Come on.
That's actually really sweet, because I like the idea of, like, you end up like having like the picture taken thing that they do at the end of Scarlet and Violet, where you get the little you get an image of you with the
gym leaders
or doing something. Or I actually really enjoyed that, because it makes me feel like the gym leaders are like doing other things besides just being gym leaders.
Yeah. Especially with Iono, is that her name? The streamer girl?
Yeah.
Who shouts you out? Weird. She shouted me out, but she didn't shout out the actual channel. But like, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. Once we get to see her in the anime, we need to find her voice actress and have them shout out the channel.
Works for me. But we've talked about my team a good bit. I like my team a good bit, but I don't want to obsess over them. So let's get to yours.
All right. So my team starts out. As I said, I prefer being a late game trainer. My team is a good bit on the strong side. I have 6 that I would use as like my post game or a rematch team once you become the champion or something. So the first one I have is Aggron. Big monster, but it's actually not that strong when you look at it, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah. It's always one of those Pokemon that I always tried to get, and by the time I got it, I'm like, it's strong, but I've grown so attached to my team. Just go to the box. You're good.
Yeah, but I feel like it's a giant, intimidating monster that a good number of trainers would probably be able to get past pretty easily still.
Yeah.
And as I said, the way I kind of did mine, where Aron would be kind of my first Pokemon. So like if you're my first challenger, I would throw out Aron instead, because it's pretty small. It kind of fits in that Geodude kind of esque, where it's not strong enough to be that like a big challenge, but it's a good starter challenge for you.
I just heard Aron's voice in the anime a few weeks ago. I was not prepared for it. It sounds so much. It sounds almost nasally-ish. It sounds nasally yet deeper at the same time. I don't know how that works.
Yeah. Now, something specific with my team is that I focused on making sure that my entire team has like other typings that are all unique as well. They're not, so I don't have like a just pure steel type. So my next one is the Aegislash line. This is one of my absolute favorite Gen 6 Pokemon. And so the Steel Ghost, again, it's unique. I love it in the anime. So that's the main reason I picked it. But again, it's another one that's kind of, because of its secondary typing, can make it a bit tougher for people to completely cover against it.
Yeah, I can see that.
So another inanimate object Pokemon that I used to absolutely hate this kind of mindset and stuff, and I mean, you even know I did. Revavroom from Gen 9, the engine Pokemon.
Oh, right.
Again, another one with the unique poison, steel poison typing. I actually used one of these in my first Scarlet and Violet playthrough, and it actually did really well for me. Like, it just was like a wall that, and if I remember correctly, it actually over-leveled my starter, which is really weird, because it's like halfway through the game when you finally can get it.
Yeah.
So, Revavroom, I don't know why I like it, but I just do, so that's why I put it.
No, trust me, we both have things in the anime we like, but we don't really know what it is. Trust me, I'm not judging.
Yeah. I've had a lot of the last few generations. I've really liked a lot of the steel types that have gotten added, because Corviknight's next.
Yeah, I remember he was going to be on your main team for whatever that last video we did was with our Pokemon teams.
Yeah, so I had to put Corviknight back on here for just that purpose. Again, he would be one that I'd only use on, like, if you're a 7 or an 8th gym, because if I remember correctly, neither of his pre-evolutions are steel type. They're both just flying or normal flying.
I'll confirm that, just keep talking.
But he's one that gets added at the end, because it and Skarmory, I think, are the only 2 steel flying types. So and the Black Knight just kind of is an interesting design for a Pokemon, I felt.
Corvisquire and Rookie D are both just flying, you're right.
Yeah, so this one, as I said, wouldn't show up that often on my earlier teams, but would be more of an add-on. It's strong, but nothing too challenging. Um, of course, Gen 2, I had to pick one of the steel types, and I chose Steelix of the two that I kind of thought of the most of. I always think, I know there's more steel types that were created, like I know Magneton became steel type and stuff in Gen 2, but I think of Steelix and Scizor are the two kind of main steel types that are introduced that generation, and I picked
Yeah.
Steelix.
Yeah, and they're both really good. I'd actually have a hard time picking between them.
Yeah, so Steelix, despite the fact that Onyx is not the strongest, I always liked Steelix. It's just one of those. Oh, it's a hardened up Onyx, and gets all these. It actually gets some really interesting moves like that I don't think Onyx gets, which is one reason I also like it.
Yeah, I remember. I remember Brock's brother taught Steelix Dragon Breath. I was like, yeah, what? Oh, Dragon Breath. Okay.
Yeah, and my final one, which I would only use if this is a post game rematch or something, and you're a good bit stronger, and that's Metagross. That would be the ace of my team. Um, all the others I could see you facing like lower those. I might use like a Matang or a Beldum as like a placeholder in earlier ones, but you wouldn't, if you're just facing me, even if I'm the 8th gym, I wouldn't send out a Metagross. That's, in my opinion, too strong. That's a champion level Pokemon because of its pseudo nature.
At least you could at least send Matang out because once again, Beldum only knows takedown, and at some point the trainer's going to be like, "This is a tad on the easy side. Maybe evolve it."
Well, the Beldum would be like the first or the second, really only. Not after that. Yeah, I agree that Beldum isn't strong enough to really do much, and you need something with the power which Matang has. But as I said, if you get to Metagross, even just regular Metagross is, in my opinion, way too strong for a gym battle. It's, as I said, it works for a champion like with Steven, but and I said, as I said, perfectly fine for a post game or a rematch.
Yeah. So you have your team up, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, Lokix, Ninjask, Slitherwing, Yanmega, Ariados, Golisopod.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then mine was Aggron, Aegislash, Revolroom, Corviknight, Steelix, and Metagross.
Okay. Hey, do we have any other interactions we'd have with other gym leaders? Because they all seem to hang out for one reason or another.
I'm trying to think. Like, I have a feeling like if I'm in Johto, I would hang out with Chuck a lot, but we don't necessarily get along. He's like, I'm trying to always do research, and he's just trying to work out. It's like jocks and nerds versus like going on.
Oh god, you guys are getting stuffed in lockers.
And yet, I have probably a Pokemon that would destroy like his entire team in Metagross.
Yeah, I like to think that since I'm so close to Litterroot Town, I'm stuck. Like Norman pops his head in every now and then. It's just like, hey, my family decides to come here. Here, you can give me the gym leader's discount, right? No, look, buddy, dude, I'd love to, but we're giving away so many free meals. We're kind of. This place might go bankrupt. You gotta pay up.
I could definitely see it. Does Professor Birch come by at all?
He does, and it gets to the point where all the Pokemon like him. It's like in what's that show, Cheers? When he walks in, everybody says his name, even the Pokemon, despite the fact you can't understand them.
Yeah, it's just Birch.
Yeah, yep. And the Spidops is the bartender, always cleaning glasses and serving them.
I like that idea. I don't know why. It just seems it actually fits perfectly for that.
I don't know. I think it has like a mustache of some kind, so I don't know. I like to think that the bugs around the place aren't really bothering anybody. They're kind of just there for moral support, despite the fact you can't really understand them.
Yeah, the see another reason I picked Metagross was because it's always described as like this giant supercomputer. So I always like it's actually doing its own research at the university with us. It's like running calculations and stuff, and like it's teaching like like certain theories and stuff, and it's like you just see the chalk running across the chalkboard with
I'd
its
like to think if
confusion.
somebody asks a really stupid question, then it just shuts down for a second try. Because it can run all these complicated calculations and somebody just says, so is Trico a water type? It just stops. It just stops and just sits down and just sits down to like, does this happen a lot? Yeah, like just give it a minute. Just give it a few minutes. Or I guess class is canceled. Let's go home.
Yeah, I like the theory that it's that meme from a couple years back where it's like my college professor walked in the door and said, "I've got a bad cold and I've got a thermos full of NyQuil. When I start seeing your head spin, class dismissed." Class lasted 5 minutes.
I'm not gonna, I feel like that's been some of my classes. Or it's like our astronomy class where everybody starts asking dumb questions and Metagross just says, I'm done for the day. No, we're done. No. Detention, everybody.
See, but I also think that it's also like our astronomy class, but it actually throws physical rocks at people, not just foam.
Yeah, I that was not that was the only class we really had together, and it was something.
Hey, you said you'd love that day in class.
Hey, well, to be fair, I love anybody who throws stuff at you because it makes my job easier. But ultimately, I'd like to think, how do I put this? I'd like to think that when it comes to my team, like once, like, because we kind of talked about Masters 8 stuff or like any tournaments we'd like to do. I'd like to think that my team, that I would be better suited for double battles. And anytime they say, oh, well, it's only single, I'm like, yeah, but what about double battles? We had 2 video games based on it. Double battles, guys. They're just like, no, single works. I'm just like, okay. Ariados, just poison them or something. Just go ahead.
I could definitely see that. My team would probably definitely be suited for single battles because I mean, as we said, with fire types, they a good fire type that I forgot what's the is it eruption that hits both sides with its fire type, I think.
Something like that. Hold on.
But yeah, a Pokemon that has if I do doubles could take out like my entire team in a matter of a couple of hits. So just a good single battle. If I setting everything out, I could have like Revovroom set up with possibility of spikes or toxic spikes. And just at that point, I could stall out a good portion of the team, I feel like.
Let's see. Ah, here we go. Oh, it says all adjacent foes, but not allies.
So yeah, that could easily take out most, if not my entire team, relatively quickly.
Yeah. And if I win the tournament, I say, look, I don't need the look, I'll take the prize money or whatever the heck we're doing, but can you guys just like come to our restaurant? Sure, there's a forest that you might have to go through, but like it's safe. Like there'll be bug Pokemon to help you eventually. You'll get out somehow.
Yeah, that would be an interesting conundrum of getting stuck in the woods and trying to figure out how to get out and like imagine if you were Misty. Misty's going on her own journey, challenging all the gyms, and challenges your gym and gets stuck in the woods.
Well, she wouldn't get stuck because I looked this up. Apparently, once Ariados has you once it tags you, it will find you no matter what. So it would just be a case of convincing her, hey, follow the big scary bug. It will get you out. Because when I looked it up, Ariados is kind of a horrifying Pokemon. Like, it will eat and kill just about anything it tries to. But I say, no. If somebody gets stuck, just bring them back. Please, just please. And for some reason, it listens.
But tell me, it's still, like, no matter what, it's still, after, if the person struggles to be led back by it, it bites them to paralyze them, wraps them up in a spider web, and drags them back.
I was going to say, I don't really think that worked. No, but that's actually perfect. And I just give them a drink. It's just like, here, you should have this. My Ariados paralyzed you. It's cool. My bad. Here, have a scone.
So you're covering for like half your Pokemon are helping you cover for the other half when it comes to running a business.
Yeah, half of them are just like, oh yeah, we'll help you with anything, listen to your problems, and the others are like, they're helping, but there might be some lawsuits coming. And then I just say, well, technically in the Kanto region, there's this guy who has a gym in the middle of a volcano. Maybe you should go after him instead, because I'm being nice to people. He's potentially murdering several people.
Yeah, then there's me who's talking down to most of the people who challenge me.
If there's ever you're upsetting me. I'm glad you never became a teacher because I wouldn't want to do that.
No, I don't know if I ever will have the patience for that. Yeah, I really don't know on that.
Yeah, yeah, but then again, a lot of little kids are also Pokemon trainers, so I'd like to think, is this kid all on their own? I get noticeably concerned about that, but people are like, they're 10-year-olds on journeys. Just they'll be okay. They'll be okay, and I was just like, all right, fine, let's go. Oh, sorry, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna mention though that um just with where my gym is placed, as I said, and all that, this is actually where you would part of our research is that we have the fossil Weird machine, but you have to you have to beat me to be able to access it, pretty much. So I'm the unlock point for fossil Pokemon.
Oh goodness. Actually, I'm cool with that. And once somebody beats you, they get.
Are you talking about a TM or something?
Well, I was talking about what's it called? I was talking about badges, but sure, TMs work. I didn't really think of a TM though.
Oh, I was thinking mainly because it's such an iconic move for Metagross and all that. I give out the Meteor Mash TM. It's super powerful. It's a good late game TM to give out, and just as I said, it gives you something to really like. Wow, okay, you're being very generous here.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, especially if it's later towards the end of the game, because I feel like it's one of those moves where if you get it early on, it could make things, let's just say, a tad difficult.
Yeah.
But I just give people the web badge. I'm like, congratulations, you won. But like, please come back. We really need the customer. But we really, really need the customers.
Yeah, so I didn't think that much on my badge. I was thinking it would kind of look like a microscope almost in design and be the research badge.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
As I said, it kind of goes with the university theme, I felt, especially since we're a big research department.
Yeah. Yeah. You hand out the TM and the people in the anime are like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? Yes, and you're just like, I don't know. To be fair, even in the games, you're not really sure what you're supposed to. We're not really sure what we're supposed to do with it because I don't think they ever explain. Like, do you just touch your Pokemon to it? Do you put it in the TV? What do you do with it?
Oh, I always just fed it to my Pokemon. It seemed to work.
I mean, if it works, it works. But like, I don't know. Oh,
It's sugar glass.
Oh god. And the move I give out, the TM I give out is Pounce.
Okay.
Inflicts damage and lowers speed.
Yeah, and since your gym is very heavily seems to be focused on speedy bug types, that is a good one, I think, to
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, and at the same time, I tell people, here's your badge and here's a free meal. Don't lose to anybody else, got it? Oh, because you want me to do well. Well, also, you just shouldn't lose. It gets kind of difficult. But don't be too upset if you do. Just, sorry about that. Here's a coupon.
Man, no wonder you're going out of business. Everything you say and do, you give out a coupon or a free meal at the end.
Hey, who said we're making money off the restaurant? We have other endeavors.
Are you a Team Rocket member or something?
Oh no. We just beat so many people. We get money from it. So we're just like, here we go. Plus, it would just be a nice, especially for kids who don't have that much money. I'd like to be like, hey, just this one's on the house.
Okay.
Try our Spinnerack ramen. Trust me, it's good.
And no, it doesn't come from Spinnerack himself. He's just the cook.
Uh, yeah, why not? But honestly, it could go either way.
You're telling me a spider fried this rice?
You know, dang, now I want fried rice really badly. I just had it last week though. But that's the thing, they do mention every now and then, oh, well, the meat comes from this Magikarp, or, like, I don't know, a lot of food seems to come from Pokemon, so I'm like, okay, somebody must have eaten something from a bug Pokemon, but at that point I'm just like, I don't want to think about that too much.
Yeah, that is a little weird, I think.
Yeah. We also have curry. I don't know who makes it, I don't know what the specialty is, but it's curry.
You just come in every single day and there's a pot of curry already sitting there bubbling away.
Yep, and it's just like, who made this? Don't worry about it. Alrighty then.
Let me guess, it's made with, I think it's the tomato berry is the one in the anime that's always very spicy.
Yes, but we also have a little bit of a challenge, and this isn't for the gym. This is just in general. So, if one of the tomato berries ends up getting black, we make curry of life from Naruto.
And it's just whether or not you can eat it or and survive.
Honestly, you don't get the main thing you get is basically just you don't get anything from besides your picture up on the wall, and the picture is never flattering.
Oh, I was gonna say, well, you could. That was the other choice to earn the gym badge. If you manage to complete that challenge and survive, you also get the gym badge.
No one's completed it. They get like one bite in, and they're like, "This isn't going well." Bathroom, third door on the left. Thank you.
No, there's one picture, and it's you having completed the challenge. That's how you became the gym leader.
It's just like you were only supposed to eat like one plate. You weren't supposed to eat the whole pot of it. You know what? You're a gym leader now. I'm like, I can't, I can't move because I've eaten so much spice, and I love spicy food, but that would be a problem.
Yeah, that. I don't know why that one seems so funny to me.
I don't know. Like I said, though, I wanted to go with Bug and the Cafe because they were kind of a weird combination of things, and no one seems to talk about Bug Pokemon that much. So I'm like, let me give Bug Pokemon some love.
I can understand that. As I said, I think overall, Steel type is either my favorite or my second favorite type. So that's kind of why I went with it. It's hard to tell between in water types being my favorite. But I know, like, I mean, Metagross, Corviknight are both on my top favorite Pokemon, and I think I put both of those on my team when we did our teams.
Metagross and Corviknight, that is correct.
Yeah, as I said, I also debated Lucario, but I still don't quite get why it's Steel type besides the spike on it, so that's why it's not on this list.
Yeah, and I thought about saying Shedinja, but I'm like, I put that on my team and I put that on Brendan's team. Let's give Shedinja a break, even though I really like Shedinja. It's kind of just there.
So for the few customers that actually pay for when they leave, if someone tries to dine and dash, does Shedinja take care of them? It just flies out in front of them.
Yeah, apparently it has the power to steal people's souls, so yeah, sure, why not?
Well, that's what I meant. It literally flies out with its back towards them.
It's just like, oh boy. Shedinja, you're probably gonna have to give that back, but I appreciate what you did.
Yeah, you're able to go get the money out of their wallet, and then it returns their souls.
Yeah, and it's just like, come again if you like. You stole my soul. Come again if you like. See y'all next week.
Back. Hey, we gave it back.
Yeah. Yeah. But then again, maybe it's the Persona fan involved because I loved Sojiro's little cafe thing.
Yeah, is that kind of the design just filled with bug Pokemon?
In a way, kind of like that. Maybe there's a piano that one of the Pokemon plays and they actually do a good job of it.
I'm trying to think. So we've already given like all the ones with multiple legs jobs.
It's just you know that Ladybug Ledian, the evolved form. It's just it, but it's two paws, but somehow it's playing really well.
It's like play Mozart. It starts playing Mozart.
How are you doing this? I have no idea what I'm doing.
I could see it.
Yeah, but ultimately, I really like our gyms. I like how I do appreciate how we both tried to keep the theme of it's not just a gym, it's also this, and we gave different aspects and more or less jobs to our Pokemon. I appreciate how we went about it.
Yeah, there's so many. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even think of a cafe. It's been a long time, and I know there's several schools, but I know there's no higher level education schools that are gyms. So it's definitely interesting. And it's like, oh, and just doing this makes me think, man, there could be some more really good uh, gym themes in the future that we could see.
Yeah. Heck, honestly, I know you're not the biggest fan of slice of life stuff, but if these two gyms got their own kind of slice of lifestyle, like mini shows, like OVAs or something that described everything, I wouldn't hate that. I think there's enough to talk about. Obviously, not like full 300 length episodes, but I don't know, maybe 4, 5, maybe.
Yeah, just kind of a day in the life at each one. That would be kind of interesting. You get different aspects of from the gym leader, some of the Pokemon, the gym trainers, and stuff.
Yeah. Heck, I kind of wish they would do that now because each gym has like 2 or 3 gym trainers in the anime, but they just don't seem to get talked about all that much.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to see like what's happening with the Pewter City gym now. Is Brock's dad and mom still running it? Because
I
Brock's
thought it
now a
was
doctor.
his little brother, Forrest, because they tried turning the rock gym into a water gym in Chronicles, and it did not go well.
Yeah, and that doesn't necessarily make the most sense because, well, the next gym, like the next city over, is a water gym. There doesn't need to be 2 water gyms next to each other.
I think they might have tried to compromise and say a water and rock gym, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But hey, you guys are the ones losing money from this, not me.
Yeah, they could do it as like, well, all they use is Kabuto, Kabutops, Omanite, and Nomastar.
Yeah,
That's
but
all they use.
I was about to say, but it's the first gym, so I don't know. But ultimately, I'm gonna be honest. I like I said, I like our gyms. I like these videos where we come up with our own like teams, powers, whatever. I think we've gotten a lot better at them.
Yeah, and I think this again, these take a little bit more to do, so they're not going to be an every week thing. They'll still be kind of our top 8 lists that we do, but
Yeah.
these will become a kind of a recurring thing every so often we get.
Yeah, the worst part is like I'm in a Naruto fix and a Yu-Gi-Oh fix right now, and I think to myself, damn, I could come up with another deck if I wanted to, but I'm like, no, I want to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, I've got an idea for my next one as well in that, but yeah, I can definitely understand wanting to wait on that. I do have a couple ideas I want to run by you, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
So let us know, guys. Ladies, gentlemen, and others, what would your Pokemon gyms be? The type, the setting, the Pokemon, just anything you'd want to know. And let us know if you would like more of these videos where we come up with our own things. Maybe we'll do one for Fairy Tail or Soul Eater, Phineas and Ferb. I don't know. Whatever you guys want us to do, I don't know.
Phineas and Ferb. What would we do if we had the budget of Phineas and Ferb?
Oh, that's a dangerous question. And I just figured we'd be kids in the neighborhood or something like that, but I don't know. Oh, but like I said, I like doing these types of videos. Maybe we'll do another one when we finish watching what we're watching. Maybe. It could take a little bit. But just let us know what type of gym you guys would have. Anything along those lines. We're so close to 1,000. Please like, subscribe, and all that other stuff. And we'll see you next time. This has been Alex.
And Richard.
And you have been listening to Anime Egotists. Good night, and peace easy.